He never wanted anything to do with God, for as long as he could remember his childhood was filled with bitterness and loss. A father who left when he was just 5, a mother who worked 2 jobs and collapsed into bed, each night too tired to speak, a church down the street whose bells he heard on Sundays, but whose doors he never dared to enter, because to him those bells were just noise reminding him of people who had abandoned him. Every time he walked by that old wooden building, he would spit on the ground and mutter that God was a lie, and if God was real, he certainly was cruel, because what kind of God would let a boy grow up this alone? So by the time he was 17, his anger had hardened into something darker. He surrounded himself with friends who laughed at faith, mocked the kids who prayed at lunch, carried themselves like rebels in a world they believed was full of weak believers. He loved to argue. He loved to tear apart verses he had never even read. And one day, late at night after another fight with his mother, he slammed the door of their apartment and stormed down the alley carrying in his backpack a book he had stolen. Not just any book, but a Bible he found in the desk drawer of a hotel where he and his friends had been hanging out. He remembered how one of them had sneered and said we should burn it, see if the lies go up in smoke, and he had grinned, thinking, yes, let's do it, because if this book is so holy, let's prove it powerless against fire. So under the glow of a flickering street lamp, he pulled out the black-covered Bible, tossed it onto the cracked pavement, and struck a match. The flame hissed to life in his fingers. Orange against the night, he dropped it onto the open pages, expecting a quick flare, the dry paper curling black. But nothing happened. The flame sputtered and died as if choked by an unseen breath. Frowning, he lit another match, pressed it harder against the thin pages again. Nothing. The fire vanished. He cursed, shook his head, grabbed lighter fluid from his backpack, poured it over the book until it dripped wet with fuel, struck 3 matches at once, dropped them onto the soaked cover, and stepped back. But still the fire refused to take hold. The edges darkened. Slightly smoke rose, but the book did not burn. It lay there, intact, stubborn, untouched by the flames. Confusion crawled up his spine. His hands trembled. He kicked. The book shouted into the night, tried again and again, but each attempt ended the same. The fire would not consume it. Anger twisted into fear. He picked up the Bible and hurled it against the wall of the alley. But when it fell open on the ground, his eyes caught a verse staring at him, bold, unshaken ink letters that seemed to glow under the streetlight. It was Isaiah 40. Grass withers, flowers fade, but the word of our God will stand forever. His breath caught something inside him, cracked. He slammed the book shut, ran home, tried to forget, but the verse echoed in his mind. He couldn't sleep that night. Each time he closed his eyes, he saw flames dying against a book that should have been ashes. He told no one, but he carried that Bible back to his room, hid it under his bed. Days passed. He avoided it, but every time life pressed heavy, the words called like a whisper he could not silence. One evening, after another fight with his mother, he collapsed on the floor, pulled out the Bible and opened it at random. It fell to the Gospel of John, and he read words he had never heard before. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He read on through the night, something alive leaping from the page, striking his heart raw and unguarded. He tried to resist, but tears blurred his sight. He remembered his father leaving, his mother's exhaustion, his own loneliness, and here was a story of a God who became flesh, who stepped into pain, who did not abandon the broken, but came for them by morning. He was still reading, and when the sun rose through his window, he whispered words he never thought would pass his lips. God, if you are real, if you saved men long ago, then save me now, because I cannot save myself. Silence filled the room, and then a peace he had never known settled in like a soft hand on his chest, like water pouring over fire. He wept for hours, but they were not bitter tears. They were cleansing ones. He carried that Bible with him everywhere after that, not as a weapon of mockery, but as the treasure he had once tried to destroy. When his friends laughed, he no longer laughed with them. When they asked what happened, he told them the truth. He told them the book he tried to burn refused to burn, and in refusing it, burned something in him, instead burned Away his pride, his hate, his despair, and left only faith, he began to attend the church. He once spat at the bells, no longer noise, but a call each Sunday. He slipped into a pew with the Bible in his hands, sometimes still stained faintly on the cover, with marks from that night but alive within its pages like fire that could not die. Years later, he would tell this story to others, and every time he reached the moment where the matches failed, his eyes would shine because he knew it was not the matches that failed, it was God who prevailed. And he would say to those listening, no flame on earth can destroy what is eternal, no anger can silence what is living, no darkness can overcome the light of God's word. And now I say the same to you. If you are hearing this and carrying your own bitterness, your own doubt, maybe you have tried to silence God in your life. Maybe you have thrown away every chance to believe, but he is still here. His word is still alive, and it will not burn away. It will stand forever, and it waits for you. So open your heart, open the book, let the words that could not be consumed consume you instead. And if this story has touched you, share it with someone who needs hope. Leave a comment with your own journey of faith, and subscribe to Faith Light Stories so that together we can keep telling the world that his word will never fail, because no matter how dark the night, the light shines on, and the darkness cannot overcome it.